Everybody wants to drive a Porsche, but some would rather sell them. And we'll tell you why this week on Motoring 2004.
TSN's Motoring 2004 is brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. Oils fine-tuned for different engines. And Midas, Total Car Care. We do that.
It's billed as the largest outdoor auto show in the world, and without a doubt, it's the best place to shop for a new vehicle. Hello everybody, this week we're in Barrie, Ontario at Georgian College, home to the Canadian Automotive Institute. Now, as we all know, an auto show offers manufacturers the opportunity to display new product, and with the popularity of concept vehicles, we get a peek into the future. Well, as you're about to see at this auto show, the public gets to meet the men and women who someday will shape the future of the automobile industry.
We're looking to see what your gross was on the car. That's the term that they're always using. How much gross did you make on that one? That's what they mean is your gross profit, okay, or your gross margin.
The Canadian Automotive Institute has been founded by the automotive industry to respond to its needs. We are here since 1985. The students who are coming here are mainly interested to work in the automotive industry, of course, and there is a different kind of opportunity for them. They can either go to the retail and working, for example, in a dealership or working in any aftermarket retail, or we have some students as well who are very interested in the corporate career in the automotive industry, and that's why actually we have the new applied degree, which we call the Bachelor of Applied Business in Automotive Management. That's the brand new program that we just started in 2003. It's a 4-year degree.
The students generally start off in September and they go for 2 academic semesters, and then they go out on co-op. Each program has 3 co-op work placements where the students are out for 4 months in a paid position in the automotive industry.
Okay, today we're looking at the Chrysler 300M. This is one of Chrysler's thoroughbreds.
Every year we have the annual Georgian College Auto Show, and it's held here on the grounds with about 25 manufacturers who are represented. We have about 300 vehicles on the premises, and we get about 25,000 people come through the show over 3 days in September.
Most of the manufacturers do product training days with our first years, and the thing with our first years, they come in here and they know so much already about all kinds of different types of vehicles, and so they make a great product reps at our show. It's a no pressure, no sales environment where customers can come and be informed about vehicles, as well as not feel pressured that they have to buy the vehicle today. You definitely have to have a love for vehicles to come to this course. We have incredible students, incredible faculty that teach the business aspect that we're all definitely interested in. But bottom line, there's a definite interest for new cars here.
Good afternoon, Jackson's Toyota. Kelly speaking. How can I help you? Well, I heard about this new program at Georgian. My first year I was actually at Western University in a business program. I've always wanted to work in the car business, so I heard about this 4-year business degree at Georgian, and so I just enrolled in that, and so I just finished my first year. Now I'm at, for my first co-op, I'm at the Toyota dealership here in Barrie.
Coming from the dealer standpoint, it's a great way inexpensive way too, to get people that are very focused in what they do and what they want to learn. I know I've been on both sides of the fence. I took the course at Georgian College myself. I have great contacts at Georgian with the co-op placement. I just tell them what I'm looking for. And typically I get tons of resumes sent in, and it's great.
Actually, you know what? I did drive one about 3 years ago as a diesel.
Oh, the diesel, yeah?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I love cars ever since I was little. I used to ask my grandpa what car he was driving. He was so surprised. Oh, why do you want to know? But I mean, I just love it. And cars, it's just, I mean, that's why I'm in the program, to work with cars. I mean, you need to like the product that you're working with, right? So I think it's extremely important.
But we don't want to always talk about accounting in here. One of the reasons that we're out here, the whole idea is to keep the customer happy no matter what.
We strongly believe here at the Canadian Automotive Institute that the education will raise the professionalism in the industry. And we do know that we do have this image problem. And hopefully, through this program, will help to contribute to raise the profile of the industry.
Can you really learn about the car business in a classroom? More later on Kenzie's Corner.
You know, the Kia Sportage and Cephia will never go down in history as being decent automobiles. However, when the Spectra arrived, it proved to be a decent set of wheels in its own right. This week on Test Drive, we take a look at the 2005 version of the car that gave Kia credibility. Spectra's first impressions are good, as the new clear-lensed headlights and taillights lend a polished look to the style, which is refreshing in a segment where many of the offerings are as spicy as plain bread. The new look also makes the car appear lighter on its wheels. However, that's an optical illusion, as it's built on a new platform that stretches the wheelbase by 46mm, puts an extra 33mm in the track, while the trunk gets an extra 2 cubic feet for a total of 12.2. Simply, it now has the dimensions demanded in this category. You know, the 46mm stretch to the wheelbase really does pay dividends if you're forced to sit in the back seat. There's a ton of legroom and plenty of headroom. And if you go with the EXL Spectra, well, you get a loaded car. All the usual power items, cruise control, all the materials have a quality feel to them, but you also get a couple of nice touches. This one, for instance, an active front headrest. Now, in the event of a rear-end collision, that reduces the risk of whiplash significantly. Power comes from a larger 2-litre engine that develops 138 horsepower and 136 pounds-feet of torque, which is up 14 and 16 respectively from last year. The improvements are down to the addition of variable valve timing to the overhead cam design, as it spreads the power out more evenly. Consequently, matting the gas delivers enough initial oomph, you no longer feel as though you're about to rear-end the front bumper, and in the mid-range there's enough power to pass a slower moving vehicle with ease. The engine is also smoother and quieter than the previous lump, which is a welcome improvement. You know, the first time I tested the Spectra, I chastised Kia for not offering anti-lock brakes at any price, in spite of repeated references in the owner's manual. For the 2005 model, they've woken up, but only added it to the EXL, and therein lies the problem. The option should be offered across the range. The Spectra also surprises in the handling department. Suspended on struts at each corner and anti-roll bars at both ends, the design is on the soft side. Consequently, the body starts to roll noticeably. Once through that initial phase, the suspension settles down and rides out the course with little drama. A quick and responsive power-assisted steering setup and P185 65R14 all-season tyres contribute nicely to the overall effect. Only when you encounter a badly rippled section of tarmac mid-corner does the back end begin to twitch, which makes the car feel a little wobbly at the knees. You know, inside the Kia Spectra there's a couple of pet peeves. The first one, when you come out of park, it's all too easy to go through drive and into third gear. Now, in spite of the fact they do show you which gear you're in up there, it's still way too easy to go trundling around town in third gear, which negates the advantages of the overdrive. The second problem is a little more serious in nature. Now, these previous cars had a problem that they fogged up with little provocation. You know what? Based upon this warning card, I would still say it's an issue. That aside, the automatic is going to be the transmission of choice, as the shifts are smooth and prompt when a kickdown is needed. Now, while the base 5-speed manual does shave $1,100 off the price, The shifty's notchy nature and the fact that the manual Spectra consumes more fuel than the automatic, 6.8 litres per 100 kilometres versus 6.2 on the highway, is the punctuation mark at the end of the pitch. You know, the 2005 edition of the Spectra addresses all of the shortcomings of the original car. It's now got the power and the room that it always cried out for, and at long last you can get anti-lock brakes. But therein lies the rub. In order to put anti-lock brakes on this car, you've got to vault it from the $15,000 entry-level price up to $21,000. Now that in turn puts it up against some much more serious competition.
Our Midas tip of the week concerns wiper blade replacement, or more importantly, replacing just the rubber strip on your existing wiper blades. Now, many car manufacturers from the factory use a high-quality wiper blade that is refillable, and you can save a lot of money by replacing just the rubber strip, but you have to know what you're doing. The majority of late model cars use a wiper arm called a shepherd's hook design. In order to remove those, just tilt the blade backwards a little bit and look underneath for a little spring-loaded plastic tab. There's the one in this particular car. Lift it up with your fingernail and then slide the wiper blade backwards towards the car and then remove it. Now, in order to replace just the rubber strip, you take your fingernails and dig the rubber strip out of the last claw at one end of the wiper blade or the other, but not both ends. You'll have a claw that hooks into the rubber element. Dig it out with your thumbnail till it's released on both sides, and then slide the old rubber element out of the blade. Take your new cartridge. You may have to reload the metal strips on either side of the rubber element in some cases, and then reload it carefully through each set of claws till you get to the end. When you get to that last locking claw, you're going to need a little bit of dish soap in order to lubricate the rubber element and allow it to pop into that little pocket and lock itself in. Once you're done, take the blade back to the car, install it through that little window, and then snap it up until you hear the click. Try to wiggle it around and remove it. If it won't come off easily, it's locked in and you're done. That's your Midas tip of the week.
Well, this is a Canadian-built 1955 Pontiac. Came out of Oshawa in November of '54, and I guess that's why it has a 2-speed automatic. Once you get into the 55 model year, they up it to the 3-speed, but it's just 2. Go faster. I mean, it's a boat. There's no question, it's a boat. And I guess more interesting for me, having had a number of up-to-date modern cars with all the conveniences, power windows, and safety features that abound now, this has none. Even something as simple as the seat backs. Now they lock in place, so if you stop in a hurry, somebody in the back seat doesn't push you through the windshield. They didn't even think of that back in 1954. No backup lights, that was an option. No padded dash. The dash is as hard as metal. The steering wheel is like something off a ship, and it doesn't collapse. And I mean, it's just the way things were back in the 50s. But getting into the car and the traffic that we have around today, it's a challenge. Your time is totally consumed in trying to keep this car going straight and not hitting anything.
Normally we have a lot of car enthusiasts in our company, and one day we had the idea just to have a successor of the old SLR. You know, the old predecessor was a fantastic car, and we thought, okay, we should have a new version of that in order to show the world what kind of sports car Mercedes is able to build. We wanted to build a real sports car, but not a racer for the street. It should be usable as an everyday car, a little bit like that, and it should be very safe. Mercedes-Benz stands for safety and comfort, and we wanted to have that a little bit into the car too. The other side was we want to have really a sports car with high performance, and so we combined these both parts together. Very modern car, state-of-the-art car, and this is combined with a lightweight body made by carbon fiber, which is normally used in the Formula One, and this gives a special mix of lightweight and high technology.
The SLR has all the equipment you'd expect from a Mercedes-Benz, airbags, seatbelt tensioners, luxurious interior trim, satellite navigation. It is not a stripped-out race car, but is still 200 kilos lighter than an SL55 or 170 kilos lighter than a 575 Ferrari.
Well, I'm going to be next.
Basically, what really I want you to focus on when we're driving is just the sheer braking performance of the car. This is where you can see the real reason we've gone with the carbon ceramic brake route. The electronic brake control distributes the brakes nicely. The aerodynamics, the rear air brake, really all work together to give you unbelievably short braking distances and stability. But also the balance of the car, we tried to make it as neutral as possible on the racetrack. So, you know, we've injected a bit of fun into what is really an everyday car. But the overall performance on a circuit, I think you'll find is kind of hard to beat really for a production car.
Just a moment, I'll be right with you. Actually, I'm kidding. It's easy to see why Chris is such a good long-distance driver, because he's extremely smooth, and I hardly screamed at all.
People have said to me, which bit is McLaren, which bit is Mercedes-Benz? It doesn't work like that. It was a team effort. Teams of engineers came together to create the car. And it isn't just a flight of fancy either. Mercedes-Benz have done considerable research into what their customers will want in the SLR. And that is one reason why there is such a high level of equipment in the car, because that's what the customers demand.
Well, as we saw earlier, the Canadian Automotive Institute at Georgian College in Barrie, Ontario, teach students almost every facet of the automobile industry, with possibly the exception of becoming a mechanic. So what's a guy or girl going to do? Well, let's head to the Quaker State Garage and join Bill Gardner and get his thoughts on that.
Well, Brad, if you want to train to be a mechanic or an auto body repair person, I think it's really important that you start in high school. Get yourself into an automotive program there and ask to be put in the co-op program. We've had co-op students at the shop over the years, quite a few of them actually, and it's worked out fantastic. We've really enjoyed it. They've got some great experience, and we've sort of followed up on their careers, and it's kind of interesting to keep track of them and see how they've made out over the years. It's also a great way to gain yourself experience with a licensed mechanic before you get into your apprenticeship program. Now, once you get out of high school, you want to get into an apprenticeship program, and I would suggest that you go to a small garage, a guy who does everything and anything. If you go to a dealership right off the bat, dealerships tend to have specialists for everything, and they're very narrowly focused. That's just the way it works. So you won't get a broad base of experience right off the bat in many cases. Also, at a dealership, they're dealing with brand new cars, real expensive, under warranty, and you're answering to a lot of people. There's a lot of pressure there, so you're not likely to get the big jobs, the clutch job, the tranny job, the engine tear down. Those go to the journeyman mechanics, the more experienced guys, because they just can't afford to have any mistakes. You can look on, but you're not going to get your hands right in there in the first couple of years. But there's a good way you can get your hands in there. Go through the classifieds in the newspaper, buy yourself an old car. You'll see them in there all the time. 93, 94 car, you go to the bottom line of the ad, it says needs head gasket, needs transmission, needs complete brake job, or whatever it is. You'll get them cheap. Fix them up yourself, you buy your parts at wholesale, your labor is your own time, and you can make some money when you turn them over and resell them. Do a good job on them, don't cut any corners, the customer benefits, and I used to do it years ago, and that's how I sort of met some of my customers that still deal with me today, so it just really works well. Once you get into a dealership, in your second or third year as an apprentice, you can get some better experience then, you'll get into those big jobs. But you've sort of got to get that broad base of experience to start you off. Till next week, I'm Bill Gardner for Motoring 2004.
wasn't too long ago that if you wanted to be in the retail car business, all you needed was a white belt, white shoes, and a lot of greasy hair tonic, but those days are long gone. The car business these days is a tough one. First of all, you need millions of dollars in capital to get started. You got to know everything there is to know about accounting and marketing and human resources, real estate, finance. It's a tough, tough game, and the margins are razor slim. So the car industry realized that if they're going to succeed in this country, they're going to need trained people, and that's what Georgian College is all about. These kids come up there and they learn everything there is to know about the game, and they learn it from experts in the field. Not only people who've worked in the car business, but people in some cases who are still in the car business. Now, earlier in the show, you heard a reference to DKs, dealer kids. That was who was the most of the population early on. Nowadays, kids from all walks of life who want to get into this game, well, that's where they go. Not only because it's the only game in town, because it's the best game in town. Now, I don't know whether I'd want my kid to be in the car business. Some of my best friends are car dealers. I'm not sure I'd want my sister to marry one, but then again, she'd be a lot more better off than she is right now. But I tell you one thing for sure, if a kid of mine wanted to go in the car business, Georgian College is where he'd go. I'm Jim Kenzie.
You know, donating to a charity is something we should all be doing, but nobody could describe it as being exactly exciting unless you're doing it here at the Georgian College Auto Show. For a $2 donation to a charity, you get to sit in the passenger seat of a 911 beside a racing instructor as he has a little fun out here on this wet pavement. You gotta love it. Before we go, we just want to wish all the students here good luck, and from what we've seen, they and the automobile industry is in for an exciting future. That's it for now. We'll see you next time as we continue to bring you more stories about cars and the people who drive them.
You can dress up a car in any number of different combinations, personalize it to your own taste, and walk away with something that says, yeah, this is me. This is something I feel really proud driving. And so that's what we're delivering.
TSN's Motoring 2004 has been brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil, oils fine-tuned for different engines, and Midas, Total Car Care. We do that.